Hello, it is Friday, which is one of my favorite days of the week, and we have a fairly unstructured weekend coming up, and I'm excited about that. It's fun to go places, but sometimes it's fun just to stay home and not have a ton of plans. It is Easter weekend, but we don't have anything in particular going on, you know, no family events or anything like that. So it will be pretty much just a relaxing weekend, which I'm super looking forward to. It is pouring outside. They're saying that we may get some severe weather today. We will see, but it's definitely raining hard. And you can see all the lovely little pollen things that are falling on the deck. It looks like we have a break in the rain, so I'm going to go down and take the bird feeders and the water down because they are saying we may get tornadoes and really high winds later, and I don't want to have projectiles flying around outside. I went out just at the right time to take down the bird feeders. The wind is picking up rapidly, and it's raining in sort of bands. It actually reminds me of when we got a hurricane. This is not a hurricane, but it's where it calms down, and then you get like really strong gusts of wind, and then it calms down again, and the wind picks up again. Definitely some crazy weather. The way the tops of these trees are swaying, I always hate seeing this. I know trees are built to do it, but since our house is literally surrounded by trees, it always makes me nervous. It is really hard to get a good angle. I'm practically standing on my head to do this, looking straight up, but those are the trees that are sort of over our house, and they've made it through many hurricanes, so I'm sure they're fine, but it's still a little nerve-wracking. It's probably raining right on the lens, but I had to come out on the screen porch. I'm on the screen porch to film this. This crazy raining right now, and occasionally there's really loud thunder, but it's very sporadic. It's Saturday morning, and today I think we're both going to be doing a ton of cooking. And also this morning, our friend Mike Karshti is going to interview us for his YouTube channel. If you aren't subscribed to his channel, definitely go over and check it out. I will link it here or here up above. He has awesome content. He has Disney videos, but he also has a ton of different kinds of videos, which I really enjoy the variety. Wish you could see Brian right now. He's trying to make me laugh. He's doing a little jig over to the side. The things that people don't see that you do. And so we're gonna do that interview with him this morning. And if it is out, the interview, before this video comes out, I will link it. If it's not out, definitely stay tuned. I will try to put it both in the community section of our YouTube page as well as on social media, of course, a link to it. So let me get to cooking. First thing I'm gonna make is buttered chicken. I have actually never had this dish ever, so I don't even know if I like it. As many of you know, I was a vegetarian 30 years, and then since I've been not a vegetarian, I haven't been able to eat gluten, and I've never seen a gluten-free version of this anywhere that I've been. I'm sure maybe Sanaa has a gluten-free version, and maybe they don't. I don't know. I've never been to that restaurant. But I definitely want to try it and see if I like it. So these are the ingredients plus chicken, which is not pictured, of course, and also cilantro for garnish. But since I'm batch cooking this, I'm not going to get the cilantro out now. I forgot to mention what makes it buttered chicken. It also has ghee in it. And it calls for 4 tablespoons. I'm actually going to start with 2 tablespoons because they tell you to put the last 2 tablespoons in at the end. I'm gonna taste it first because that's a lot. I know it's buttered chicken, but that's a lot of ghee. So I'm gonna try 2 tablespoons, and if it tastes good at that point, I'm just gonna stop there. And if it doesn't taste right, then I'll go ahead and add the other 2. I've done everything that I can do until I cook the first round. So I forgot to mention this is an Instant Pot recipe, and if you're interested in the recipe, it's I Heart Umami is the name of the website, and it's paleo buttered chicken. In the Instant Pot. So you can search for that. You should be able to find it. And so I mixed the spices together, chopped up the shallots, ginger, and garlic, opened the cans of tomatoes. That's pretty easy. And then I'm not showing the chicken because I know we have some vegetarian friends that watch, but also you just put the chicken in without chopping it first, because they have you pull it out, use an immersion blender on the sauce, and then chop the chicken and put it back in. And so I guess if you chop it now, it's too small to easily fish out in that in-between step. So that's something different than the way I usually make chicken dishes. So we'll see how it goes.
Perfect.
Okay, I have added the chicken and spooned the sauce over it and sealing the Instant Pot, and then this goes manual to 10 minutes. And oh, that's interesting, it remembers what you did last. I didn't show this, but I did pulled pork and that was 75 minutes, so it's interesting that it remembers. So we want to go to 10. And then that's it. And then in this case, you let it naturally release. I took the chicken out as directed, and it was falling apart, so the chicken's definitely done. So I'm supposed to dice it up and put it back in at the end. Now you're supposed to add the coconut milk, which I'm using the cashew milk. And then you're also supposed to add 2 more tablespoons of ghee. Like I mentioned before, I'm actually going to try this without doing that. To see if it really needs all of that ghee. But now I'm about to use one of my favorite kitchen appliances. I don't use it often, but when I do need to use it, it's wonderful. Unfortunately, I can't show you using it because it will probably splash the screen if I do, but it's an immersion blender. These are wonderful. If you don't have one and you like to make soup, stews, anything that you want to puree at some point while it's still hot, these are just magical. So it's just a little blender that you can hold in this direction. So I'm going to do that next. Next step is to puree this, then chop the chicken, add it back in, and that's it. So I'm going to do that, taste it, and see if it needs the additional ghee. There's the finished product. I did end up adding the other 2 tablespoons of ghee, just like the recipe said. I'm no expert on butter chicken since I've never had it before, but it did not have a creamy texture like it's supposed to. And it also had more of a tomato forward taste, and I don't think that's how it's supposed to taste. So I added the ghee, and sure enough, that made the difference. It tastes really delicious. This is definitely a good recipe. I highly recommend it. And they recommend serving it over cauli rice, which I actually really love cauli rice, so that's what I'm gonna do when I do eat it. But right now I'm just batch cooking to freeze it. Next, I'm gonna make egg muffins. I totally forgotten about these, and I used to make them all the time to take for my work breakfasts. And I saw Disco Liz make something similar on her channel. If you don't subscribe to her channel, you should. I will link to it above somewhere. This is so simple. She made a different recipe, but I always just change up which veggies I put in, and then I put a dozen eggs, and I saute the veggies first, and then put them in muffin pans, and you just bake them 20 minutes for 350 or until the egg sets. And then as long as you put them in the fridge, they reheat really good for breakfast. After the veggies are sauteed, you just put a little bit in the bottom of each muffin tin. And one tip I do have is once you scramble the eggs, put them in something with a spout, because it will pour so much better into the muffins. If you pour it straight from the mixing bowl, unless your mixing bowl has a little spout type, it will go everywhere. Here are the finished egg muffins, perfect breakfast. I had to bring our stuff from the quote YouTube studio we created upstairs because for both of us, we need to be sitting together and also have a computer in front of us so I can see Mike. So hence the setup. And we still have this poor game setup that Brian set up like, I don't know, 4 weeks ago now. So we're determined to play that today. We're gonna make our best effort to get this game in at some point today. But in the meantime, this is going to turn into a temporary YouTube studio. I got to bring my laptop down next. Good morning and happy Easter. Brian's over there trolling me, digging through his Easter bucket, which I will put up a clip of right here. He got an Easter bucket instead of Easter basket this year. And so if you have children, you may know the answer to this. Do they put like tons of sales on Easter candy? Because I waited till this week to go get it for him, like during the work week, and it was like totally picked over. They didn't have some of the stuff that I know he wanted. I guess I just waited too late. They were just really, really picked over. Our roses have started blooming outside, so spring is definitely here, and that is awesome. The weeds are also growing like crazy outside, so I've done a little bit of yard work this weekend. And it's really strangely cold today. Not freezing or anything, it's gonna be in the 60s, but this morning it was 45, so it was cold, and I actually had to turn the heat back on. But then we're back up in the 80s this week, so it was just a cool Easter morning. One thing I've noticed these days is kids don't seem to dress up for Easter the way we did when I was a child. We actually wore fancy dresses and a lot of times even a hat. Not gloves. Brian was asking if we wore gloves. I don't remember wearing gloves. So I went through some old photos. I was really fortunate. A couple of years ago, my mom took the time to scan in most of my childhood photos into the computer, because of course this is way before the digital age, so I'm really glad to have them. And so I found a few. I even found one, I'm not gonna put it up here because it wasn't as good. It has some of my other family, so I don't wanna put them on the vlog, but I even found one where I did have a hat on. But what's funny is this morning reminded me about how I can remember some Easter mornings that were warm, but I remember Easter mornings that were really cold. Is you have these little summer dresses and then you end up with a winter coat on top of it. This would have been one of those mornings. I mean, maybe not a winter coat, but you would definitely need a warm jacket this morning with it being 45. And I also found this picture of me with this super creepy bunny. Super creepy. And it's just funny to me that I'm not actually crying. I look happy, but the bunny was really creepy. One of me in the dress holding my Winnie the Pooh, and Brian thought the Pooh looked a little strange, but I remember him. That's how he looked back then. I know the new ones look different, but that's how they looked back then. And then another one of me holding a Easter pail. What's funny is I gave Brian that Easter bucket this morning, and I was thinking, bucket's kind of weird, but apparently even way back in the 70s, there were Easter buckets. Pretty cardinal on our bird feeder, just hanging out. I heated up the gluten-free buttered chicken to eat for lunch today and put the fresh cilantro on top. Yummy! It is Tuesday, and we are going to the beach this coming weekend, and there's some exciting stuff going on. There's a food truck rodeo. There's also, I think, like a county fair or festival. I don't know how many of the things we'll get in this weekend, but we're super excited. It should be a fun weekend, and the weather looks gorgeous. No more rainy weather this time. So we're super excited about that. Because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this week's weekly vlog because I need to edit this video and pack for the beach. So thanks for watching. As always, we appreciate subscribes, likes, shares, and comments. Until our next adventure.